If you need motivation to function, you are not disciplined, you are dependent. And dependence is weakness. Weak men chase motivation because it feels powerful. It gives them energy. It gives them intensity. It gives them temporary belief. But the moment that emotional high disappears, so does their productivity. So does their discipline. So does their progress. That's the cycle. Hype. Action. Drop. Repeat. And they call it self-improvement. Strong men don't play that game. They understand something uncomfortable. Motivation is unreliable. It's emotional weather. Some days sunny. Some days storm. If your output depends on emotional weather, you will never be consistent. And consistency is power. Weak men wake up and negotiate with themselves. Do I feel like training? Do I feel inspired? Am I in the mood to work? Strong men don't negotiate. They execute. Not because they're always driven. Not because they're always focused. But because they built systems that remove negotiation. That's the difference. Motivation is reactive. Systems are proactive. Motivation requires constant input. Systems require structure once. Motivation needs fuel daily. Systems run automatically. Think about this. A weak man needs a speech to start. A strong man needs a calendar. A weak man needs a mood. A strong man needs a routine. A weak man waits for fire. A strong man builds machinery. And machinery doesn't care about mood. It runs because it's designed to run. Most men don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they depend on emotional spikes. They binge productivity content. They feel powerful. They plan aggressively. And 3 days later they collapse. Why? Because there was no structure. No system. No environment design. Just emotion. And emotion fades. Systems don't. Systems remove choice. And removing unnecessary choice removes weakness. When you train at the same hour every day, there is no decision. When you work in the same focused block daily, there is no debate. When you follow a fixed routine, there is no emotional bargaining. That's strength. Strength is not intensity. Strength is reliability. The strongest men are not the most hyped. They are the most consistent. They don't need to feel inspired. They built an operating system for their life. And in the next part, we break down why motivation actually keeps weak men addicted and stuck instead of improving. Motivation feels powerful because it makes you feel strong without demanding structure. That's why weak men love it. It allows them to feel disciplined without actually being disciplined. They watch a video. They feel fired up. They make a new plan. They promise change. But they never change their environment. They never build constraints. They never remove friction. And without friction management, there is no system. There is only emotion. Weak men confuse emotional intensity with progress. They think because they feel serious, they are serious. But seriousness is proven in repetition, not in mood. Strong men understand something brutal. Discipline is not about willpower. It is about design. If your phone is next to your bed, you will scroll. If junk food is in your kitchen, you will eat it. If your training time is flexible, you will skip it. That's not a motivation issue. That's a system failure. Weak men try to fight temptation with willpower. Strong men redesign their environment so temptation is weaker than structure. That is intelligence. You don't rise because you feel strong. You rise because your system doesn't allow weakness to dominate. If you need motivation every morning, your system is broken. If you constantly restart routines, your structure is fragile. If your progress depends on hype, your foundation is unstable. Strong men remove randomness. They schedule their effort. They track performance. They eliminate distractions. They create automatic triggers. Wake up train. Work block deep focus. Evening review and plan. No debate. No emotional discussion. Just execution. Weak men say, I'll start when I'm ready. Strong men say, I start because it's time. Weak men seek excitement. Strong men build inevitability. And inevitability is terrifyingly powerful. When your actions are automatic, progress compounds. When your habits are predictable, results accelerate. Motivation burns hot and dies fast. Systems move slow and dominate long term. And in the next part, we break down how to build systems that make weakness irrelevant instead of trying to outhype it every week. If you want to stop being dependent on motivation, you need to stop relying on willpower. Willpower is limited. Systems are scalable. Weak men wake up and make decisions all day. Should I train? Should I focus? Should I skip? Every decision drains energy. By the time resistance appears, they are already tired. And tired men choose comfort. Strong men remove decisions before the day even starts. Their training time is fixed. Their work blocks are scheduled. Their distractions are limited. Their sleep is protected. That's not obsession. That's structure. Weak men try to feel stronger than their impulses. Strong men design their lives so impulses have no room to win. If your phone is the first thing you touch in the morning, your system is weak. If you rely on random bursts of energy to complete work, your system is weak. If your progress depends on mood, your system is weak. Systems are built through constraints. Fixed time. Fixed place. Fixed process. The less flexible your core habits are, the stronger you become. Not because you're intense. Because you're predictable. Predictable effort compounds. Random effort collapses. Think about it. If you train 5 days every week at the same time for a year, results are guaranteed. Not because you felt motivated every day, but because the system made it inevitable. Strong men build inevitability. Weak men chase inspiration. Strong men automate discipline. Weak men dramatize effort. Strong men measure inputs. Weak men celebrate emotion. The difference is brutal but simple. Systems create progress even on bad days. Motivation only works on good days. And life is not made of good days. If your system cannot survive boredom, stress, fatigue, and low mood, it is not a system. It is a mood-based ritual. Build structure that functions when you feel nothing. That is real strength. In the final part, we close this with the identity shift that separates men who restart from men who dominate long term. Here's the identity shift that changes everything. Weak men build effort around emotion. Strong men build identity around structure. If you still need motivation to act, you have not decided who you are. Because once identity is clear, behavior follows automatically. A man who sees himself as disciplined does not debate training. A man who sees himself as structured does not negotiate focus. A man who sees himself as reliable does not skip execution because he wasn't in the mood. Weak men restart constantly because their identity changes with emotion. 1 week they are intense. The next week they are distracted. 1 month they are serious. The next month they are inconsistent. There is no foundation. Strong men decide once. They choose the standard. They choose the routine. They choose the structure. And then they repeat it until it becomes automatic. This is why systems beat motivation every time. Systems remove drama. Systems remove emotional dependency. Systems remove the illusion that progress requires excitement. Real growth is boring. It is repetitive. It is mechanical. And that's exactly why it works. Weak men want transformation to feel cinematic. Strong men accept that it feels ordinary. They show up when it's boring. They execute when it's quiet. They follow the system when nobody is watching. That repetition builds reputation. Reputation builds authority. Authority builds influence. And influence builds power. Motivation gives you moments. Systems give you momentum. And momentum compounds. The man who depends on motivation will always be restarting. The man who builds systems will always be progressing. So stop asking how to feel more inspired. Start asking what structure makes failure difficult. Stop chasing hype. Start designing inevitability. Weak men need motivation. Strong men build systems. And systems win.